Hello, everybody. Dr. Aluya Isaiah is my name. You are welcome to this YouTube channel where you can receive free tutorials on GST 111, use of English and communication skills. Each tutorial lesson will be accompanied by an assignment and some practice questions aimed at enhancing your understanding of the topic. This is with a view to preparing you for your continuous assessment and final examinations. I will encourage you to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Please click on the notification bell so that you can receive notices of fresh uploads on this channel. This is the first video of the series on use of English and communication skills. In this video, we are going to be discussing effective communication. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to define the concept of communication and explain the components of the communication process. Please pay attention to the lesson so that you will be able to answer the practice questions at the end. Let's get started. As human beings, in the course of our daily interactions, we exchange ideas, feelings, and information by speaking, writing, listening, and reading. When we engage in these activities, we communicate by sharing messages with other people or by receiving messages and responding to them. Communication is a process which begins with the sender who encodes a message in written or non-verbal form. This message is relayed through a medium and is interpreted by a receiver who tries to make sense of it. That is, to understand the message as intended by the sender and respond to it appropriately. What then is communication? Communication is the process of creating meaning by sharing of ideas, thoughts, feelings, and information with other people through the use and interpretation of speech, writing, or non-verbal cues. From this definition, it can be seen that communication is a process. What this means is that the communication process consists of a series of steps which are interlinked. Since this process is always ongoing, communication is continually in a state of transformation. The elements of the communication process are its components or units, which serve as its building blocks. These elements are the sender, the message, the channel, the receiver, and the feedback. We explain each of these elements one after the other. The sender. The primary reason for initiating any communication act is to disseminate information. The sender of a message is an individual or group of persons who initiate the communication act. The act commences as an idea or thought in his mind and later translated into symbols that convey what he has in mind. The sender is also referred to as the source, encoder, transmitter, or the writer. There are four types of senders or sources. They are sender-oriented person, message-oriented sender, channel-oriented sender, and receiver-oriented sender. We will explain each of these types of senders one after the other. The sender-oriented person is the type of sender who does not have the interest of a mixed audience in mind when constructing his message, and as a result, he is not a good communicator. The message-oriented sender is the type of sender that has a vast knowledge and is an expert in his area of specialization. He finds it difficult communicating effectively with his audience because he puts more emphasis on the message rather than the audience. He does not care much about either the channel or the receiver, and as a result, he finds it difficult to impart the knowledge he possesses. The channel-oriented sender is the type of sender that cares much about the means of communication instead of the audience. His interest is more with the means than with any other details. He is more interested in the number of people his message gets through at a particular time. The receiver-oriented sender is the type of sender that has the interest of his audience in mind. He is meticulous in selecting his topic and in preparing his message. He considers his diction and is conscious of the fact that his audience is the basis for his communication acts. These are some of the reasons why he is described as the best sender. We move on to the second element of the communication process, which is the message. All communication acts convey a message which contains the ideas or the thoughts in the mind of the sender that he wants to transmit. The thought or idea constitutes the essence of the communication. A message must be meaningful, and for this goal to be realized, the sender must encode it properly. In order to avoid communication failure, the sender must ensure that the encoding process is not by any means faulty. The channel is the third element of the communication process. The channel is referred to as the vehicle that carries a message to the receiver. It is the route through which a message travels from the sender to the receiver. It is important to mention that in face-to-face communication, the channels are sight and sound. There are two types of channels. They are the interpersonal channel and the mass media channel. The interpersonal channel involves a network of exchange between two or more persons. They include handsets, telephones, meetings, letters, and messengers. This type of channel ensures more understanding and enhanced feedback. The mass media channel involves the transmission of information to a large and scattered audience. They include television, radio, newspaper, magazines, and books. The receiver is the final stop of any message. His responsibility is to decode the message. What he does in decoding the message is that he breaks the message into details in order to get meaning out of it. In order to effectively do this, the receiver must pay attention to the sender and his choice of words, the tone, cues, and gestures. The receiver is the final destination of the message. Communication will only be said to have taken place when the receiver has received, decoded, understood, and responded to the message. The feedback is the reaction or response from the receiver to the sender. This reaction can be verbal or non-verbal, internal or external, intentional or unintentional, as well as negative or positive. Verbal feedback comes in the form of questions, shout of approval, or comments. The nonverbal feedback is observed in facial expression, body language, or performance of an action in response to the message. While the external feedback is observed, the internal feedback is not observed. It is now time for you to attempt the test questions. Please listen to the following questions and pick the right answers from the options provided. Question number 1. Which of the following is the best type of sender? A. Sender-oriented person. B. Message-oriented sender. C. Channel-oriented sender. D. Receiver-oriented sender. Question 2. The medium through which the message reaches the receiver is called what? A. Channel. B. Process. C. Communication. D. Decoding. Question number 3. Which of the following options best represent the order of arrangement of the elements of the communication process? A. Feedback, message, channel, and sender. B. Receiver, message, sender, channel, and feedback. C. Sender, message, channel, receiver, and feedback. D. Sender, channel, message, receiver, and feedback. Question number 4. One of the following type of senders cares much about the means through which the message is delivered. A. Receiver-oriented sender. B. Channel-oriented sender. C. Message-oriented sender. D. Sender-oriented person. Question 5. Why is the receiver-oriented sender described as the best type of sender? A. He cares much about the message. B. He takes care of the channel of message delivery. C. He considers the audience while constructing the message. D. He is only concerned about the audience who are in the same category or class with him. Question 6. The channels in face-to-face communication are dash. A. Radio. B. Television. C. Public address system. D. Sight and sound. Question 7. The process of converting the message relayed through symbols into meaning is dash. A. Encoding. B. Decoding. C. Conversion. D. Transmitting. Question number 8. Which of the following types of feedback is observable? A. Verbal feedback. B. Non-verbal feedback. C. Internal feedback. D. External feedback. Number 9. Dash is the sum total of what the receiver makes from the sender's message. A. Meaning. B. Symbols. C. Signs. D. Sounds. Question number 10. Which of the following type of senders has a vast knowledge and is an expert in his area of specialization? A. Message-oriented sender. B. Channel-oriented sender. C. Sender-oriented person. D. Receiver-oriented sender. Let's look at the answers to the questions. The answer to question number 1 is D. Number 2 is A. Number 3 is C. Number 4 is B. Number 5 is C. Number 6 is D. Number 7 is B. Number 8 is C. Number 9 is A. And number 10 is A. The assignment for this lesson is as follows. 1. Define communication. 2. What do you understand by the communication process? 3. Identify the elements of the communication process and explain how they are interlinked. Thank you for making it all the way through to the end of this tutorial lesson. I look forward to having you on this channel in the next lesson.